Winter is here, and I hope all of you with garage gyms are keeping as warm and toasty as possible. But don't fret, don't fuss. This video is gonna warm you up. We got Francis Ngannou leaving the UFC. We got Titan Fitness Hex Bar. We got Rep Fitness handles. We got $1,000 tub by True Grit Fitness, and we got a whole hell of a lot more in today's video. The NoFate channel checking in. Jonathan here with another Home Gym Week in Review, where I bring all of us introverted brethren together to talk about the home gym community, sports, and whatever else comes across my desk. We got so much to talk about. I'm not going to tell you to give the video a like and hit the subscribe button, and that every week I review new pieces of home gym equipment. We're going to just dive right in. Now, Rep Fitness this week has shipped out their open trap bar handles and given the rest of the home gym manufacturers a big heads up on how to build brand loyalty. For those of you not familiar, Rep Fitness released their open trap bar with one set of handles, which was 27 inches wide. It shipped. People liked the bar. Some people thought the handles were too wide for them based on how they're built. Rep Fitness then dropped 3 additional handles a few months later. But did they hose their original clients? Did they hose their original customers and say, hey, you got to pay more money? No. They reached out and said if you bought the open trap bar prior to the new handles dropping, you got to choose any handle you wanted for free. I think most people are going to want to go with the normal width as opposed to the wide and the narrow. Keep in mind, the original one that got shipped out at 27 inches was the wide. Comment down below. Which of these Rep Fitness handles do you think is going to be your Goldilocks zone? You know what I'm talking about. For me, I initially thought it was going to be the medium, but in testing both the narrow and the medium, there wasn't a big difference. I have to do seal rows and I have to do cambered bench press with these bad boys just to give them a try and figure out which one is going to be my preferred one that I recommend at my height at 6'1" and a relatively narrow frame. And in the sports world, Francis Ngannou, one of the scariest men on the planet and the heavyweight champion of the world, is no longer with the UFC. After 2 years of trying to negotiate with the UFC, they have parted ways. Now, why is this important? For many of you, you might not care, but just in case you wanted to know, the UFC is the premier MMA league in the world. Now, they have a bunch of fighters on payroll, but they are not employees. They are actually contractors. And even though they are contractors, they are often treated contractually like employees, where they cannot get specific sponsors during and around fight weeks, and they are limited to some of the other activities that they can partake in order to earn money. Now, typically, the UFC never lets a fighter that they want to keep go to the end of their contract. Usually, when there's 1 or 2 fights left, they renegotiate in order to kind of keep that power balance in their favor. Now, Francis Ngannou bet on himself. He fought out his contract and won, retaining the belt, and it has been a long negotiated process, but unfortunately, it appears that they cannot come to an agreement. I don't know if it's money in terms of what Ngannou thinks he can make versus what he is being offered. Supposedly, they did offer him quite a substantial amount of money. I don't know if it has to do with healthcare, because as an MMA fighter, I think that would be fairly important for me. But overall, it's always nice to see someone bank on themselves and succeed, and I wish Francis Ngannou the best. It will be interesting to see what he takes on next, whether it's MMA or whether it is boxing, and the paycheck and the bag that comes with it. Time out. I need to give you a quick and massive thank you. You have all been using my affiliate links, which are in the description of today's video. And when you use those links, it does support me, and all the proceeds go back into the channel. Let me know when you use those links so that I can send you a small token of my appreciation. So we talked about Titan Fitness's release of their brand new open trap bar that was slated for November, that came out in January. And obviously, because it's Titan Fitness, it got a lot of pros and cons, a lot of heat. I think a lot of the consensus, at least from what I saw, which is not a scientific poll, is that people thought it was a good open trap bar. However, the price point just seemed to be a bit too high. Now think about it, it's $330. It is the same price point as their rackable Hex trap bar, but obviously when it comes to Titan Fitness, people expect to pay less in general. They just have really dug themselves a hole, being for so many years the lowest cost provider of home gym equipment, that when they put something out that is not to people's liking, they do tend to get a bit of backlash. Now, with that said, with all the backlash, they still managed to sell out of their first run of open trap bars. Clearly, some people were still interested in this open trap bar regardless of the $330 price point. For me, I thought the price point was just a tad high, but again, it's Titan, so I was probably just expecting them to come underneath a lot of the competition. Design-wise, I only had one question, and that was the feet. The feet look like they're straight metal, and depending on how they're designed and how they're cut, I'm curious on how that's going to deal with your flooring. Now, if they're rolled and it's smooth, probably not going to be an issue, but if they tend to be sharper metal, you might have some serious gouges in your horse stall mats if you're going heavy. Now, the one design feature that I know I have a problem with actually comes with the handles. Now, they have 23-inch spacing, which seems to be improved from their rackable hex bar, which is 22-inch spacing, and some people thought that was a little too narrow, so I think 23 is going to be ideal. It also has 2 different diameter grips, which is excellent to give people the option. However, if you look at the design on these grips, you're going to see you cannot do an inline deadlift, meaning your hands are not going to be able to line up with where a bar would normally be on the deadlift form. And for some people doing a hex bar deadlift, they want those handles higher so that they can essentially work their back a little bit more, put on a little more weight on the bar. For someone like me, I like both options so that I can get down low and mimic a normal deadlift even though I'm using the hex bar. Homegym CON, the first home gym convention ever, is right around the corner, starting on April 14th and going through the 16th in French Lick, Indiana. I will tell you that no, Larry Bird will most likely not be popping in, but I think it's going to be a stellar time based on the number of influencers, people, and home gym manufacturers that are going to be there. They're going to be presenting, and they're going to be doing tons of fun giveaways and promotions. I think it's going to be one of those things you're going to be glad you went to. Usually when they have the first go around of any type of convention, it's something special, and they really blow the roof off the place. Will I be there? Most likely not, but I do support them and hope that they are successful, and hope if you're in the area, if you're looking for a fun vacation because it is on a very schwanky resort, or if you are just looking to make a road trip to get away from the wife and kids, that you go out there and attend. I got no affiliate link, I got no affiliation, I got no skin in the game, no horse in the race, but if you're a fan of the home gym community and you're in driving distance, man, oh man, you definitely gotta get there. Griffin Fitness, a California supplier of home gym equipment, has dropped a brand new 2023 version of their adjustable bench, this 2.0. It does look a little bit better than their previous version, coming in at $500, and it can, like most benches now, it seems to be the standard, stand up on its edge. Love to see that. Love to be able to get save space and all that good stuff. A few of the stats on this 2.0 bench. I will say that stats don't tell you much until you get your hands on these things, but it's a place to start. Vertical storage, which we mentioned, which is awesome. 12-inch wide pad, minimal pad gap of 1.75 inches, 11 gauge steel and 4 gauge steel, and it does have the Griffin signature look, which is all black hardware. They do have an additional leg attachment that is, I'm sure, going to be an add-on version, but it'll be interesting to see what kind of sales they run, what kind of promotions. Look, we can already get 10% off of our workout on our first purchase. So right off the top, you're going to save $50 if you just, use that random coupon. So they do have free shipping, which is another claim to fame on Griffin and so many other suppliers, but it is nice to see it does make for an easy checkout process. Do me a solid. I want you to comment down below if you've used Griffin Fitness, if you own any. Let me know what your thoughts are on the company as well as the products that they make. At the time I'm shooting this, Midnight Energy Special Energy Drink just got released. Now, this is a gamer-built energy drink for gamers, by gamers, and if you're like me, you love to game. Now, obviously, I was a big Nintendo kid in the 80s and early 90s, But I grew up and went over to the PC and found Civilization 2, 3, 4, 5, Diablo 2, and I spent probably a good year and a half playing Diablo 3 as well, ashamed to say, and I am a big fan of gaming. Now, for those of you not familiar with this product, the reason I actually really like the ingredients panel is that they don't just dump in a bunch of caffeine. So it's 150 milligrams of caffeine, a cup of coffee and a half, but it's coming from a natural source. They also throw in some really great vitamins. They throw in vitamin C, B3, B6, and B12 in massive dosages. And then on top of that, because for many of you gamers and for many of us up here in the north of the US of A, we don't get much vitamin D. They threw in 5,000 international units, 5,000 IUs of vitamin D. Now for focus, they threw in 1.5 grams of tyrosine, which is a massive amount. And they threw in theobromine, huperzine A, all that stuff to get the neurons firing. So we're going to do 3 super quick taste tests and tell you which one of these is my favorite. Cosmic Delight Mixed Berry and Cream. A nice berry flavor. It is sweet, but not overly sweet, and it has that cream finish, which does set it apart from a lot of the berry energy drinks that are out there. That cream finish definitely feels nice on the back end. Northern Lights Blueberry Lime. Let's see. Real good. Really strong on the lime, but in a good way. Every time I took a sip, it makes me want to go back in for seconds. Blue Raz Eclipse. This is a blue raspberry lemonade. Let's see. That one's good. It is your typical blue raspberry with that hint of lemonade. It comes off sweet. I probably would just add more water, which is the nice thing about getting powders, is that you can add it to your convenience. So they were all good, but if you're picking favorites and you can only buy one, I would go with the Northern Lights. This one just kept me wanting to go back in. A sip after sip after sip, really, really good. I will say second is the Cosmic Delight. That was the cream that really was the cake, I'll tell you, because you get that blueberry, which is typical of some energy drinks, but that cream finish really sends it home. And last, but certainly not least, is the Blue Raz Eclipse. Now this is put out through the Kimball Foundation. It's a group of gamers that are out there. Clearly, I'm not in the know when it comes to gaming, but hey, I'll put the link in the description. Check it out if you're interested. And I will say when it comes to energy drinks, if you're looking for actual, energy and focus and ingredients that are going to help you, you're better off going with the powder. You're better off with going with something like Midnight Energy than your typical Reign or Bang. When you buy those cans drinks, you're just buying caffeine. Obviously, you're buying the carbonation and the flavoring, and there's a convenience factor as well, but you're not really going to get anything else out aside from the massive amounts of caffeine. If you made it this far in the video, you and I are officially Francis Ngannou and Knockouts. That's right, best friends, shake and bake. Hopefully you found today's video fun and informative. As usual, thanks for watching, and don't save anything for the trip back.
It was at this moment that he knew he f***ed up.